Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to work on getting this Slant 6 built up, get it painted, and get it ready to go back into the duster. You'll know that from the previous episodes, I've wanted to get this duster running and driving, at least in the yard, so I can move it around while I'm working on it over the next period of time. And you'll also know from the Will It Run episode that the Slant 6 that came with the car, the original Slant 6, well, it threw a rod. So it's toast, and the crank, as you saw from that episode, was also warped or bent. So it's a brick. I've scavenged a bunch of parts off it. Let me show you what's going on here. Well, here it is, the original Slant 6 to the duster. I've pulled off most of what I want from this, and it's about ready to head to the scrap heap. This is the Slant 6 that we're going to build up. I was able to get this from a buddy down the road, just right down the road actually. Thanks to Dennis, appreciate that very much. We don't know a lot about this engine, so we're going to go through it in this episode. We've got a few things that we need to do to it. We're going to replace the timing chain. It's got a little bit of, just a little bit of too much slack there. So we're going to replace that while we're in here. Why not? New fuel pump. I've already gone through the oil pump. I pulled that off, took it apart, and rebuilt that just to make sure it was good. We're going to check a couple main bearings. We'll check a couple rod bearings just to make sure we're happy. It does spin over real nice, so we're good there. This is a later model Slant 6 from 82 or 83, I believe. So it has the different head on here with the small peanut spark plugs, they're called. So it should be I'm expecting this to be a runner. We're just going to do a quick makeover, if you will. We will take a look at the top end and make sure that we're in order up here. We'll check. We might replace the valve seals while we're in here. I mean, this is the time to do it. And I've got a full gasket kit for this thing. So that's what we're looking at doing. Once we get this built up and we're happy, then we'll get this painted and we'll get it ready to mate to the tranny. This, believe it or not, is the original 3-speed tranny. I'll throw a picture up of what this thing looked like when it came out. A lot of elbow grease went into this thing to get it all cleaned up, but she's ready to rock now. I took apart the shift linkage, rebuilt all of that just to get it all cleaned up. Again, it's just the kind of person I am. I can't put this back in the car, even though it's not the long-term choice for drivetrain. I just can't put that back in the car the way it was. So it's cleaned up, ready to go. Check the throwout bearing. Everything looks good in this tranny. Of course, I dropped the fluid. The fluid looked pretty good. So I think that tranny is going to be just fine. So we'll mate it up after it's painted. We'll get it ready to drop in this episode. I didn't want to throw the parts cannon at this Slant 6, right? It's temporary. It's just to move this thing around. But I did have to at least get at the parts gun. So I've got an order from Rock Auto that we'll pull apart here for some key things that we're going to need to make this thing run and drive. I've gone through and taken the oil pan from the original Slant 6 and cleaned it up, at least an initial pass. This thing was just awful. You might remember that from the Will It Run episode. It was just so caked with grease, grime, carbon, junk. Old inspection cover all cleaned up. I went through and just prepped all of these parts that are going to go back on the engine. Some are going to get painted, so there's still a bit of work to do, but now these are all clean. So the clutch plates are good. Cleaned out the pressure plate. All of that is good. You see the flywheel. All these parts are good to go. We're going to put a new seal on that timing chain cover. All of that, at least most of it, is going to go back on the engine in this episode, painted and ready to go. Again, you might think I'm crazy. Why are you spending so much time on this Slant 6 just to move around the yard? Well, it's going to be in the car for a while. I enjoy doing this stuff, so let's get it done. Let's do it right. I've got the carb soaking in my secret sauce in here. We'll take a look at that. I don't know if we'll rebuild that during this episode, but I do have a rebuild kit for that Holly 1920. They've got a bad reputation. And I'll explain all about that when we get into it, but we're going to try and make it go. So let's get started. We're going to flip this engine over and let's check a couple of the bearings and make sure that this engine still is ready to go. Here's a better look at the bottom end of that Slant 6. You can see this engine, when you compare it to the original Slant 6, this Slant 6 was pretty well maintained. It's pretty clean inside. That makes me happy. Checked over each of the cam lobes, and it looks like the valve train's going to be happy for us. So that's great. Each of those cam lobes look great. Looks like the wear pattern is good. So quite happy. And see how this thing spins over here. Real nice. So quite pleased with that. I think we got a good runner here. Of course, I don't know compression yet and what the situation is with the rings, and that's fine. Look, once we get it mated up with the tranny, we will do a compression test on this thing so we know what we're dealing with. But again, I'm not looking for a long-term high-performance Slant 6 runner here. I'm just looking for something that runs decent, can move the car around. So even if we've got a couple cylinders that are low, I'm still confident that we can make this into what it needs to be. So with that in mind, though, let's get one or two of these main bearing caps pulled off. Let's just have a look. Want to just see the health of this engine from a bearing perspective. We'll pull maybe, as I said earlier, one or two rod caps too. Just check them out. All right, let's do that. All right, here we go. Let's start with number 3. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, we're in good shape. Let me get a cloth here. Certainly some wear on that. However, really nothing to be concerned about. You can see a good shot of that crank as well. Really, really great. Very happy with that. We'll just do a quick spin over. Yeah, looking good, looking good. Okay, very happy with that. All right, excellent. Let's just put a bit of assembly lube on that. Just to keep that happy. Just a bit of assembly lube. Just want to make sure it's lubricated when it goes back in. Good stuff. We'll do that in a couple steps. We'll do 40. And then we'll finish off at 85. Beautiful. Just make sure she still spins nice. Beautiful. Okay, let's check a rod cap. And I want to go back to cylinder number 6. That is the one that's furthest away from oil pump. And that would be the one that would be at risk the most. We've seen that from the original Slant 6. I wouldn't mind checking that main bearing right here. It's just then I got to get into a rear seal, and for what I'm building here, I don't want to get into that. This engine I can tell has a good seal, so I don't want to mess with that. Let's pull this. Okay, let me get a clean cloth here. Have a look with me. That is number 6 rod bearing. Looks really good. It's got, of course, some miles on it, but it's very smooth. There's nothing in here that has any groove or catching. It's very good bearing still. And it looks like you can say the same for the crank. Looks really good. Okay, let's put her back in. Just snug these up. These go to 45 foot-pounds. We'll just snug them up. Beautiful. Okay, let's check rotation. Always, after you do some work like this, check rotation. Very happy. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm very happy with the bottom end of this. No need to go any further with this bottom end. Very happy. So what we're going to do is we'll clean up these oil pan surfaces while we're down here. Then we'll install the oil pump pickup that matches the oil pan for this A body. We can't put the pan on yet. I'm going to wait until I get the timing chain cover and the new timing chain on. But while we're down here, let's throw in that new pickup, and we will go ahead and clean up some of these surfaces. Okay, I've got the new pickup here. Well, I wouldn't say new, but it is from the original Slant 6, and as I said, will match the oil pan. So we'll just toss that in here and get it positioned and ready to go. I'm not going to make another full rotation on this thing. That's going to be too loose, I think. All right, so I'm going to put a bit of thread sealant on there because I can't make another full rotation to keep it real snug, and I've got to back it off. So we're going to clean that those threads out, and we'll just put a bit of sealant on that. All right, I've got some sealer on those threads. Again, normally I wouldn't bother with that, but I don't like the way how loose that was going to be. I think that's where it's going to land. We'll check the cover. I think that's where that's going to go. Okay, now we'll just do a little light cleanup on these surfaces here. Get her ready for that pan. Okay, on to the next step. We've got the engine flipped around here, and I want to get the timing chain off, the sprockets off. We're going to clean up all of these surfaces and get it prepped for the new timing chain and sprockets. We'll put the new water pump on, get the new timing chain cover on, and really button up the front of the engine. This crank pulled off. Nice. Now, this engine is just so clean compared to the other one. All right, anyway. All right, now we're going to get this lower sprocket off. Oh, I didn't think I have to use a puller for that. In the 440s that I build, the big blocks, these just slide on and off. It might just need some persuasion. Okay, maybe I have to use a puller for that? Come on. Why? All right. All right. Well, what's that thing about learning something every day? Well, these got to get pulled off. So I've got a puller here in the garage. So let's get this thing hooked up. See if we can pull it off. No doubt I'm going to end up turning the crank here, so I will lose my top dead center, but oh well. All right, I think that's doing the thing. There she comes. There she is. The old sprocket. Beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do now is clean up these surfaces. We're going to clean up all of this, get it ready, and then we'll throw on our new set. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Very happy with that. You saw me covering this hole up here. Look, that just enters into the valve train area where the lifters are and the push rods. And I don't want to get a bunch of that brake clean in there, so that's why I was doing that. These surfaces are clean. I'm just going to wipe them down real quick with a clean rag, and I think we're ready to start putting stuff back on. Well, getting boxes in from Rock Auto is always a treat. So I'll share it with you. I've got 3 boxes here to unpack. Take a look at what I got for the Slant 6. And through the process, we'll pull out the timing chain and sprockets that we need to carry on the front of the motor. Let's have a look what we got. Always enjoy the magnets. Thank you, Rock Auto. This should be our new fuel pump, because the one in the car I tested, it was no good. That looks beautiful. All right, we're ready to rock on that. Looks like the right one. Thank you, Rock Auto. Next box. Oh my God, not much in there. What we got here? What a nothing. This should be, yeah, my 1920 Holley repair kit, rebuild kit. That's going to be fun. Stay tuned for that. We are going to try and make that 1920 go. It may fight us. We'll see how we do. All right, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Looks like a new water pump. Look at that bad boy. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Should be good to go on that. What else we got? These spark plug wires. Beautiful. Aha! Timing chain and sprockets. Excellent. We'll leave this out. We'll talk more about that in a minute. What we got here? Oh yeah, went ahead and why not? Let her breathe happy. New filter. This thing is getting spoiled for what it is. Yes, another magnet. Let's go. 6 new peanut spark plugs. Giddy up. What's this? I forget what this is. Oh, ballast resistor. I just thought that the one in the car, even if it's good, if you guys know anything about Mopar, you want to keep one of those handy. And what do we got here? Oh, it's new pilot bearing for the tranny input shaft. Good bushing, I should say. This should be my new point system. Yeah, new point contacts. Giddy up. Again, rebuilding the distributor. We're going to try and make that old distributor run. That's it. That's what we got. I think that should be all we need. Cross your fingers to make this Slant 6 a runner. Okay, let's get back on that timing chain. All right, let's go. It's hard to do this wrong, and what I mean by that is, if you're wondering, well, which side goes on which way, the timing mark is always on the face that has to be on the outside. So this is the inside, and of course it's got this keyway here, so can't go wrong. But what I do want to do is just put a bit of lube on that. Just some light WD-40. We know that we're going to have to press this on, and a little bit of lube will help with that process. There we go. All right. Now I'll just get set up with the install tool. All right, we're back. So I think I'm ready to push this sprocket back on. I'm using a harmonic balancer installer kit. That's one I've been using in all the 440s I've built. I think it's going to work for this process. The only thing that I had to make is this collar, 2-inch inside diameter. I had some stock in the metal pile. This will allow me to push the sprocket properly and square on the crank, and then together with some other, this is an old bearing retainer from actually an 8 3/4 axle, a couple things MacGyvered together here. I think this is the roller bearing that comes with the harmonic balancer installer kit. I think with a couple little tweaks here, we're going to be able to push this lower sprocket on. Cross your fingers. Okay, just got to make sure everything is square as it can be. That's pretty good. Okay, well, let's see what I can break. Oh, and that crank's going to spin for sure. It's going to throw everything off, so that's fine. But I got this hammer here, so I can stick that in there and keep this thing from moving on me, hopefully. Okay, I think it's working. I think. Oh no, this is spinning on me. That's what's going on. All right, hang on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on. Who was doubting? And it allows me to hold the crank. I'm spinning. Come on. Hope I got it on the right way. There she is. Beautiful. All right. Ta-da! Okay. Well, let's get the upper big sprocket on for the can and chain. And we'll get this all lubed up in a bit, but for now, let's. Wait a minute, that's not right. That's not right. Beautiful. And look at that. You probably can't see it yet, but those timing marks line up. We're ready to rock. Okay, I'm just going to clean this bolt up. I just want to clean that bolt up a little bit. Hang tight. Okay, got the bolt all cleaned up. One of those threads clean, dry, and ready for the never come off juice. So let's get that going. Where'd you go? You saw that slip there, eh? Okay. Timing marks are lined up. Why is that? No, it's just got to be tightened up. That's why. Yeah. All right, let's get that tightened up. $35 foot-pounds. Beautiful. Looks good. A little more play than I would think should have, if I'm being honest. Certainly more play than I would see in a built 440 that I do. But all right, well, at least we got a peace of mind that we got a new chain on there, and she's good to go. Okay, so we will lube this up now. We'll get that all lubed up as best we can, and then we're going to work on putting on the timing chain cover and go from there. All right, I was just wanted to double check the timing on this thing to make sure that I wasn't going to have problems down the road. I want to try to get it running. And I thought I wanted to have both dots lined up, but just like actually a 440, you want both dots pointing up. So you can see this is pointing up, or up, I should say, in this direction. And I checked that because I wanted to make sure that the timing was set with the timing mark on the timing chain cover, and I'll show you in a second. at 0 degrees, top dead center. And so I put the crank nut in here, bolts, pardon me, and I was just spinning it around, watching the valve train, making sure that with the compression stroke that I had both valves closed. And when I did that, I quickly realized that on the compression stroke at TDC, both dots were pointing up. So that's got the timing right, where both valves here, both valves are closed. You can see I can spin those push rods very easily. Both valves are closed. I know that the piston is at the top of the cylinder because I've got the bottom end open, so I can have a look at that. So both valves closed, piston at the top. I know I'm on the compression stroke, top dead center. So if I were to continue to spin this, I get the power stroke, and then the exhaust valve opens for the exhaust stroke, and so on. So I know now that we're good and timed. And so to verify then how things line up, I took the timing chain cover, positioned it on the pins here and there, and then just slip on the balancer slash pulley, and you can see now that right here, this notch on that pulley and 0 degrees is lined up. So I should be good for now timing the engine. And I know I've got everything set. So I'm gonna pull this off, and everything in here is buttoned up. What we have to do now is replace this seal. So let's go and do that. Then this is ready to go on for, I hope, the last time. All right, and then just a little bit of persuasion juice and a new seal. Now these can be pressed in, and I probably am going to do that. So hold that thought. So look, you can beat those seals in with a hammer, and that's fine. However, I've got a press. I've got so many pieces and parts that I'm able to do this pretty effectively. So I've got this former race. Put that over top, but it's a perfect fit for the edge of that seal. We'll slip this in, get things centered up, and with just a little bit of effort, that should push in real nice. Yeah, I think so. We want that seal to be uniform all the way around, and it is. Rock and roll. Okay, now we want to clean the surface where the gasket's going to go, so we're just going to use a bit of acetone for that. I find it is the best way to go to get a surface ready for a gasket. Here, let's grab the gasket, make sure I got everything covered. Yeah, it should be good. So line up the pins and the holes. Bob's your uncle. And I do have an Uncle Bob, so giddy up. Or did, I should say. Okay, now I've cleaned up that surface, just with the wire wheel, the bench grinder. Now let's put some high tack on this. And okay. Yeah, if I didn't show that in a previous video, but this is the stuff that I'm using. High tack. Alrighty, giddy up. Let's get this on. Pins aligned. All right, I'm gonna grab the hardware. Be right back. All right, I'm back with the hardware here for the timing cover. Let's get this on, and these torque to 200 inch-pounds. Yep. Installed. All right, it's time to put this water pump on. So I've just double checked. I've got the hardware, everything I need. It's all cleaned up. Just clean it up. It's from the old Slant 6. This Slant 6 didn't come with any of the hardware. So I've got that all cleaned up, ready to go. Here is the new water pump. Here, you pull it out. It turns real nice. Beautiful. Okay. Now, same thing as we did for the timing chain cover. Got the gasket here. We're going to just clean this surface with acetone. We'll high tack that gasket on. 2 of the bolts for the water pump need thread sealant because they enter the water jacket. So that'll be easy peasy. Let's clean this with acetone and get that gasket on there. Okay, clean this just surface of the water pump here with acetone as well, just to get any of the shipping oils off of it. Come on now, work with me. All right, let's get a couple bolts in there. Okay, let's chase these down, and then we'll torque them up. 25 foot-pounds on the water pump to the block. Okay, clearance check. Beautiful. There we go. Water pump installed. Okay, it's time to install the balancer and pulley. And pretty straightforward. I use this kit to put on the timing chain sprocket. Same concept. Find the right thread for your crank install it on this very long shaft that's threaded. Screw that all the way in. And now you have what you need to run that down. So we want to put just a little bit, I'm going to just wipe that down, put a little bit of lube on the crank. We're also going to lube the pulley because we don't want to tear that seal when she turns. Just have a look and make sure we're good and clean inside of here. Yeah. When I went through and cleaned this, I did try to run some emery cloth down in there, so we're looking pretty good. And so this is where you want to have some lube. We'll use actually some engine assembly lube on that one, so it stays on it. Beautiful. A little bit of WD on the inside, just so we get a nice easy push. Slide this baby on. As far as it'll go that way. Look, some people will just hammer these on. You can do that if you like, but this is the right way to do it. Tell me that ain't easy peasy. Ready for the next install. There we go. Just turn that back to. Now I got a crank bolt that I don't know. I'd like to. I bet a longer one. Let's see if we can put that on. We're gonna find that useful later when we're putting the what am I trying to say? When we put the flywheel on, we're going to want this crank on there, this crank bolt on there. This isn't going to stay. It's just in here for now. Give me something to turn the engine over with. There, she's at TDC on cylinder number 1. Balancer is installed. Again, this is going to come off, so don't worry yourself. We're good to go. That's installed.